There's some contradictions in being a great energy auditor. You need to be approachable, someone who listens well, but also need to be hard-headed and intensely focused on business outcomes. You need to value yourself not on what you achieve with the audit, but on what happens after the audit. Is your advice implemented, and was it trustworthy? And your advice must be based on technical expertise and on the commercial savvy of knowing what's involved in implementing recommendations that may be quite complicated and what the real cost will be. You need to be humble. But at the same time, once you are sure of the value of the measure that you're proposing, you need to be insistent and be persistent. You need to be both great at listening and great at convincing. Makes a great energy auditor. Let's look at 6 characteristics. Lately, I've been thinking about what makes a great energy auditor and reflecting on my own experience, the experience of auditors who've worked for me, my experience as an assessor of energy audits, and as a mentor to energy auditors. Hi, I'm Bruce Rouse. Well, like many areas in life, I think that being a person who is approachable and who others are not afraid to speak freely to is pretty important. Now, this isn't always easy to do, especially if, like me, you're an engineer and you like to think that you know best. It's about being humble, realizing that there was always something to learn, listening well, and then also realizing that the way you see things is not necessarily how other people see things. So when you're approachable, I see 2 main benefits. First, you're going to learn more about the business and the site that you're auditing because people are going to tell you more about it. And it's going to be easier for you to make tailored advice that suits that site and that organization. And secondly, you're going to start to build up some trust, and people will begin to trust you a bit more than they would otherwise because you're approachable, you're open, you listen to them. Maybe they'll start to like you. And trust is important when it comes to getting energy audit recommendations implemented. A second characteristic, it's almost the opposite of the first, but not quite. It's conviction. It's believing intensely that the advice that you're providing is in the best interest of the business that you're advising and also in the best interest of the individuals you're dealing with. So basically, a good energy auditor may be very open, consultative, and approachable when investigating a site and quantifying the energy savings opportunities at that site. But once these are identified, checked thoroughly, risk assessed, once you've verified that they're in line with the business's objectives, well, then a great energy auditor is willing to stake his or her reputation on the advice provided and will present the measures with great conviction and follow up persistently, saying, you've got to do this. It's just really in your best interest, because an energy audit is only as good as the actions that it helps initiate. So if you believe totally in the advice that you're providing and would be willing to even put your own money on the line, well, then that can be incredibly powerful in motivating your clients to move forward and implement your advice. The third characteristic of great energy auditors is that they chase the truth, in that when they quantify the costs and benefits of an energy efficiency measure, they really want to be sure that those estimates of costs and benefits are not over or underestimated. Now, chasing the truth can be hard, particularly if you want to look good when you present the energy audit to your clients and you want to be able to say, look how much you could save, and say, look how little it would cost you to get, because you want to look good. You want to produce an energy report that looks good, that shows lots of savings at low cost. Well, how do you manage this? Fourth characteristic of a great energy auditor is that you don't judge yourself on how great energy efficiency looks on the paper, how great it looks in the audit report, but you judge yourself on how great it is in reality. You judge yourself not on what you estimate can be achieved in terms of savings. You judge yourself when the measures have been implemented on what was actually saved and what it actually cost. And hopefully they're pretty close to what you estimated that they would be in the energy audit report. And basically an energy audit report is just an estimate of costs and benefits. A great energy auditor is obsessive about getting his or her advice implemented and then checking that the actual costs and savings are close to what was estimated. In other words, a great energy auditor views performing well as delivering no regrets, real energy savings for the clients, as being someone who can be trusted for his or her investment advice, which is basically what an energy audit is. It's investment advice. This then leads to the fifth characteristic, which is that a great energy auditor will start with this end in mind, with implementation in mind, and puts effort into qualifying prospective energy audit customers right at the start. We'll ask, why do you want to do an energy audit? What are you going to do with the audit report? What resources are available to implement the advice that I'm going to provide you? How do I know you're going to implement it? That's being pretty blunt, but perhaps I could say that in different words. But you want to be sure that your advice is going to be implemented and that the organization is positioned to do that. So in essence, a good energy auditor will be asking right at the start, how do I, as an energy auditor, know that you, my client, are going to follow my advice? Or will I just be wasting my time producing a report that no action is taken on? And if you come to that conclusion that you would be wasting your time, and then, well, if that's the case, dear client, I don't think we should be doing an energy audit right now. Perhaps I could help you in other ways to help you get to the point where you do have the resources, you do have the financing and the willingness to invest, and you're willing to follow my advice and implement what I'm going to provide. You've got the people and you've got the money to do so. Finally, and sixthly, in order to be able to provide advice that can be trusted, an energy auditor needs to be technically capable of providing that advice. And this is actually where being an engineer can actually be a real advantage. An energy auditor needs to know how to identify inefficiencies, how to quantify them, to be knowledgeable about energy using technologies, and to have an understanding of what's involved in implementing them. What's involved in implementing what could be major capital works at that site. This means that you're curious. It means being solid in maths, physics, and thermodynamics. It means that you enjoy learning and applying knowledge. It also means that you're perhaps cynical and wary of claims about energy savings, and there's many suppliers which will make great claims about how much energy their products will save. And actually, often if they sound too good to be true, they are actually too good to be true. So if you want to be a great energy auditor, but I'm not sure that you are, or you're just starting out, perhaps the investment grade energy auditor training and certification is for you. Check it out in the link below this video.